Everyone loves an empath. At least, they love what an empath can do for them. They love the person who notices the change in their voice, the person who knows something is wrong before they've said a word, the person who listens without rushing them, who remembers what hurt, who notices what everyone else missed, who makes people feel seen, safe, understood. The world has a tremendous appetite for people like this. And yet there is a strange paradox at the center of the empath's life. Everyone seems to need them. Very few people seem to understand them. And many empaths eventually discover something even more confusing. They can spend their lives creating connection for everyone around them while feeling profoundly alone themselves. Because connection doesn't necessarily feel the same on both sides. For the person coming to the empath, connection may feel like comfort. For the empath, connection can feel like a demand. Someone needs something. Someone's mood has changed. Someone sounds different. Someone is disappointed. Someone is hurting. Someone is angry. Someone needs to talk. And before the empath has even consciously decided to become involved, her nervous system may already be paying attention. What happened? What's wrong? Did I do something? What do they need? How do I make this better? Suddenly, connection isn't simply two people being together. It's work. And when you've spent years experiencing other people's emotions as information you need to respond to, even people you deeply love can become exhausting. Not because you don't want them, because you're never completely off duty around them. That distinction matters. We talk about empaths as though they're simply people who feel more. But for many people who identify this way, there is something else happening. They don't merely notice emotion. They respond to it. They anticipate it. They accommodate it. Sometimes they even take responsibility for it. Someone else becomes uncomfortable, and somehow the empath begins searching herself for the solution. This is where empathy can quietly turn into emotional labor. And because the empath is extraordinarily good at that labor, other people may never realize she's doing it. They just know they feel better after talking to her. They feel calmer, less alone, more understood. And that's beautiful until one person consistently leaves the relationship feeling lighter while the other consistently leaves carrying more. This is one reason empaths can attract people who have enormous emotional needs. People recognize safety. They recognize someone who will listen, someone who won't immediately judge them, someone who will make room. And there is nothing inherently wrong with needing that. The problem begins when the relationship quietly becomes organized around one person's need to be held and the other person's ability to hold them. The empath becomes the listener, the fixer, the mediator, the emotional translator, the person everyone calls when something goes wrong. And because being needed can look remarkably similar to being loved, it can take a very long time to notice the difference. Especially if you learned early in life that connection came with a job description. Keep everyone happy. Don't make things harder. Notice what people need. Be useful. Be agreeable. Don't upset anyone. don't need too much yourself. If those lessons become deeply embedded, adulthood doesn't magically erase them. You may walk into a room and automatically read it. You may notice tension before anyone speaks. You may recognize irritation from a facial expression that lasts half a second. And while everyone else is simply having dinner, you're gathering data. Is everyone okay? Did that comment bother her? Why did he suddenly get quiet? Should I change the subject? Did I say something wrong? That isn't relaxation. That's vigilance wearing very good manners. And it explains something that can be incredibly confusing. Why would someone who values connection so deeply sometimes withdraw from it? Why ignore the phone? Why cancel plans? Why need enormous amounts of time alone? Why feel relief when nobody needs anything? Because solitude may be one of the only places where the nervous system stops receiving assignments. Nobody's face needs to be read. Nobody's disappointment needs to be prevented. Nobody's silence needs to be interpreted. Nobody's pain needs to be carried. For once, there is nothing coming toward you, and that can feel like freedom. But then comes the other side of the paradox. The empath still wants connection. She still wants intimacy. She still wants friendship. She still wants someone to notice her. And so she can become trapped between two genuine needs. Please come closer, and please don't need anything from me. This is an extraordinarily lonely place to live. Because the problem isn't necessarily that nobody loves the empath. Sometimes the problem is that she has become so accustomed to experiencing relationships through other people's emotional needs that she no longer knows what connection without responsibility feels like. And other people may not know either. They've met the version of her who listens, who accommodates, who understands, who says, it's okay, who doesn't ask for much. Then one day she begins setting boundaries. She doesn't answer immediately. She says she's tired. She doesn't volunteer to fix the problem. She allows someone to be disappointed. She says no without producing a 5-paragraph explanation. And suddenly, some relationships change. That can be devastating, but it can also reveal something important. A relationship that requires you to abandon yourself in order to maintain it isn't intimacy. It's an arrangement. Healthy connection has room for two nervous systems, two sets of needs, two emotional lives. Two people who are allowed to have difficult days without making the other person responsible for repairing them. And that may be one of the hardest lessons for an empath to learn. Someone else's discomfort does not automatically become your assignment. Someone else's disappointment does not automatically mean you've done something wrong. Someone else's sadness does not require you to eliminate it. You can care without carrying. You can listen without absorbing. You can love without rescuing. And you can remain connected to another person without disappearing from yourself. Because your value was never supposed to come from how much emotional weight you could carry. You are not valuable because you're useful. You are not lovable because you're endlessly available. And empathy was never supposed to require self-erasure. The goal isn't to become less compassionate. It isn't to stop noticing people. It isn't to harden yourself against the world. It's to discover something many empaths were never taught. Connection can be a place where you get to rest too. Someone can sit beside you without becoming an assignment. Someone can have a feeling without handing it to you. Someone can love you without requiring you to earn your place by taking care of them. And maybe that's the real empath paradox. Everyone needs the person who makes them feel safe. But the empath needs something too. She needs relationships in which she doesn't always have to be the safe place. Sometimes she needs somewhere safe to land. And if you recognize yourself in this, I want to hear from you. When someone reaches for connection with you, does that feel like comfort? Or does some part of you immediately start wondering what they're going to need? I'm Deborah Lee, and this is the Daughter Wound Project Sanctuary and Archive, where truth doesn't require permission. Welcome home.